Hi guys, I'm Roshan Joshi. So today we are going to talk about task 4 of SRT 210. Let's move on to the first slide, which is the table of index. So today we are talking about configuration of DHCP, then configuration of Raspberry Pi, then some troubleshooting scenarios in DHCP, then analyzing DHCP capture using Wireshark, and doing the same with TCP dump. Then we talk about some of the tools. So let's move on to the first slide, which is high level goal configuration of which is about the configuration of DHCP. First, we can start with the configuration DHCP on Linux. So for that, power on your Linux VM. Here you can first type the command apt-get update, which will update your operating system. So I have typed the command. Then you could type the command apt-get install ISC DHCP server, which will install the DHCP server package. Then you have to type the command ifconfig. If the command is not working, you could download a tool package called nettools. For that you can type apt-get space install then nettools. I will show the command. So writing this command and pressing enter, so it will be installed. So after that you could type ifconfig and check whether it's working. So this basically shows your IP address, then net mask and broadcast. So here you can see my IP address is 192.168.3.136. My net mask is 255.255.255.240. Then my broadcast address is 192.168.3.143. Let me power on my VM. So the next step you have to do is to add your interface name to a file called nanos space slash etc slash default slash isc DHCP server and press enter. Here you can give the interface name. Here I have given ENS33 because I'm having the interface name ENS33. After that, save this file, save the changes that you have made and press enter. Then you can type cd space slash etc slash DHCP. Then after typing this, you can type the command ls to check the DHCPD.conf file is present or not. Then you could add the IP address your IP address and the range of IP address that you are planning to give to your client. You can add these things onto this file. For that, I'm going to type the command nano space slash etc slash DHCP slash DHCPD.config. In this file, you have to comment these two lines. It was when you open this, it will be uncommented. So you have to comment these two lines. I have already commented these two lines, and you have to uncomment this line. When you open this, it will be commented. So you have to uncomment. Then you have to go down till you see a slightly different configuration for an internal subnet. Here you can see the subnet, which is 192.168.3.128. And the net mask, which is my net mask. You could give this details from, if you type ifconfig, you could see this detail. Here you can see my subnet ID, net mask and broadcast address. So I have given the same here. Subnet ID is 192.168.3.128. Then I have given netmask as 255.255.255.240. Then the range of IP address I have given between 0.129 to 0.142. I have given 142 because I have given the IP address range between my net subnet ID and my broadcast ID because it should be less than broadcast ID and it should be more than my subnet ID. So I have given the range between these two. Then option router, I have given 192.168.3.255. Since you are not having DNS, you can comment these two lines. So default lease time I have given 600, then maximum lease time I have given 7200. Then you can save the file. After that you can type the command systemctl space start space isc DHCP server to start DHCP server. Then you can type systemctl space status space isc DHCP server to see the status of your DHCP server. Here you can see that it is running, active running. So I'm cancelling this. The next command you have to type is ufw status. For that you have to first install the package called ufw. So after that, if you type ufw status, you can see it is inactive. And then you can add one firewall rule like ufw space allow space in space on, then ENS33, which is my interface name, from any port 68 to any port 67 proto UDP. So this will add the port using UDP protocol. So after that I'm going to type the command let me check for the command lease list DHCP lease list. This basically shows the VMs which are currently running. Here you can see 192.168.3.137, which is the IP address of my Windows server. Then 192.168.3.138, which is my address of my CentOS. Then for Debian 136 belongs to my current Debian, and 139 belongs to my this Debian 10 into 3. So you could see the devices connected, and these all devices are connected in the range and the range that you have that I have provided. So let's move on to the next topic, which is subtask 1, configuring, deploying, managing and assembling Raspberry Pi. So let's talk about what is Raspberry Pi is. So Raspberry Pi is a low-cost credit card sized computer that plugs into a computer monitor or TV and uses a standard keyboard and a mouse. It is a capable little device that enables people of all ages to explore computing. Raspberry Pi basically is a computer which do not have a monitor. You can connect it to your desktop monitor, or you can even connect it to your TV. So it is so small that you can put it in your pocket. So Raspberry Pi configuration steps. First, before powering on your Raspberry Pi, you have to take an SD card and you have to download the Noobs version, or you can insert the SD card which is preloaded with Noobs version. If you don't have, you can download the Noobs version from raspberrypi.org official website. Then the ISO file will be zipped and you can unzip it and copy the contents inside the zip file into the SD card. Then after that you can insert the SD card in your Raspberry Pi and power on your Raspberry Pi. Using an HDMI cable, you can connect the Raspberry Pi onto the computer, desktop or TV. Then first you have to connect to the Wi-Fi. You can give the credentials of Wi-Fi, and after that you can choose. There will be a lot of options shown, uh, and you can select the operating system which you wanted and click install. After the Raspberry Pi get installed, you need in order to enable SSH and remote desktop protocol, or if you have to enable VNC server, which will help uh, to provide desktop graphical view in your laptop of the Raspberry Pi. So for that you can click on preferences, then click on Raspberry Pi configuration. Then from here you can select interfaces. Here you can see SSH and VNC are already enabled. If it is disabled, you can click on enable and click OK. After you do this, you can reboot your system. So in order for VNC to be installed in your laptop, you have to download VNC from the website, and then if you take VNC, here you can see it is here you can see a search bar. Here you can give your IP address of the Raspberry Pi. Here I am giving my password. If you do like this, you won't get a screen. For that, you have to go to command prompt. Here I am going to SSH into my Raspberry Pi at rasp. Yeah, here I am giving my password. So now I am logged in to my Raspberry Pi. Here I am going to type VNC server. You type like this. Here you can see my IP address along with the double colon, and it's shown 3. So here I am going to type 3 with this IP address. Then I press continue. Then I give username as pi, because when you buy a Raspberry Pi, as default your username will be pi. Here I am giving the Raspberry Pi password. So now you can see I'm logged into my Raspberry Pi. You can see my Raspberry Pi graphical interface here. You can see it's connected to Wi-Fi. Let's move on to the next topic, which is about troubleshooting DHCP. So for moving on to the first issue, there is a problem client ID name in the DHCP network database. For that, verification is the client ID in the DHCP network table is incorrect. So the solution for this problem, if you are using Ethernet, the client ID is 01 followed by Ethernet address. Make sure that all letters in the address are capitalized. A00 means that address has not been assigned. So let's move on to the next problem, which is the client boots and works correctly, but the following message appears. The message is DHCP renewal on interface name failed. For the verification is that DHCP is working, but the DHCP agent cannot contact the server to extend the lease. So solution for this problem is find out why the server is responding now, not responding now. This could be because the router value configured in the DHCP tab is incorrect or out of date for the client network. So moving on to the third issue, which is DHCP daemon is running in boot P compatibility mode. Verification for this is boot P does not use a lease time. The DHCP server looks for free addresses with the boot P flash set to allocate the boot P clients. Solution for this is allocate boot P addresses. Use the command DHCP config to change the daemon option. You can change the daemon option using the command DHCP config. So let's move on to the next topic, which is analyzing DHCP traffic using Wireshark. For that, download Wireshark in your Windows. Here I am going to power on my server, I'm giving my password. I'm having some throat issue. So here I'm going to take the Wireshark. This will take some time. Okay. Now the next step is that I'm going to double click on Ethernet. I'm stopping this because it's not capturing. Then again I'm going to double click on Ethernet 0. Let's start capturing. So I'm going to take my command prompt. Here I'm going to type ipconfig slash renew. This takes a time. Here I can see my IP address, subnet mask and default gateway. Now I'm going to type ipconfig slash release. Then again I'm going to type the same command ipconfig renew. Then after that, the next step I am going to do is stop my Wireshark capture. In the filter box, I'm going to search for DHCP. So I'm typing DHCP here, I'm pressing enter. Here I could see my DHCP. Here you can see that my source IP is 3.137 and my destination is 3.142. It's all from my IP address range that I have provided for DHCP. So let's do this using tcpdump in Debian 3, so Debian 1. For that you have to type the command. First you have to install tcpdump in your Debian. To capture the packet you have to type DHCP packet. You have to type tcpdump I space ens33. Let me check the command, and then port 67, which will capture all DHCP packet. 467. Now okay, it's capturing, so I'm pressing Control C. So here you can see for gets captured. Okay, moving on to the next slide. tcpdump. tcpdump is a command line utility that allows you to capture and analyze your network traffic going through your system. It's often used to help troubleshoot network issues as well as security tool. It is ideal to run in remote servers or devices for which a GUI is not available to collect data that can be analyzed later. So we have already used tcpdump. So in VM3, if I may not be having internet connection, so if I type tcpdump alone, it will capture all type of packets. Before it was capturing only DHCP packet because we have already mentioned the port number. Now moving on to the next tool, which is about Wireshark. Wireshark is an open source tool for profiling network traffic and analyzing packet. So Wireshark we have already talked about, which is also used for capturing traffic. While Wireshark is used on Windows, tcpdump is used on Linux. So Wireshark we have already illustrated. Let's move on to the next topic, which is tool, which is DHCP-D. There are system management interface tool options to enable DHCP client. The DHCP-D daemon reacts its configuration file and attempts to start and get an IP address and other configuration options for the interfaces specified with the configuration file. So let's move on to the next tool, which is DHCP-dump. You can parse means analyze DHCP packets using TCP-dump and DHCP-dump programs. DHCP-dump provides a tool for Initialization of DHCP packet as recorded and output by DHCP dump to analyze DHCP server response. So DHCP dump can be used to uh, record DHCP packets. So if you are using DHCP dump, you will get packets, all kind of network packets. So DHCP dump can be used to select all DHCP packets. Let's move on to the next topic, which is DH client. DH client is the dynamic host configuration protocol client on which would use to allow a client to connect to a DHCP server. The client server would then supply the IP address and any other information the client would need to use the internet or connect to the outside world. DH client will actually help system to connect to internet. It will provide the necessary information like which will give the IP address and all other necessary informations to connect to the internet. Let's type this command here on my CentOS. Since I have already typed while powering on my CentOS, if I type ping 1.1.1.1.1, my network will be unavailable. So I use DH client. So I will have an internet connection. So let's move on to the next slide, which is about ipconfig. Basically list out all IP configuration details of your Windows-based machine. This would include both the hardware MAC address as well as your IP address associated with the MAC. It basically lists out all networking adapters in your machine with their MAC, IP, default gateway, and subnet mask. So here I'm going to type in my command prompt ipconfig command. So here when I type, you can see that it shows my IP address, my default gateway, then my subnet mask. It also provides my MAC address. So IP command shows my IP command can be used for showing your IP address, MAC address, etc. So let's move on to the next tool, which is getnet IP configuration. The getnet IP configuration command gets network configuration including usable interfaces, IP addresses, and DNS server. If you do not specify your parameter, the command gets IP configuration properties for all non-virtual connected interfaces on a network. Okay, we can use this command in PowerShell. This has to be used in PowerShell. I'm taking my PowerShell. Yeah, here we can type the command getnet IP configuration. This takes a little time. Here you can see the interface name, which is Ethernet 0, then the IP address, gateway, and DNS server. This provides all the information regarding my IP address and interfaces. Let's move on to the next tool, which is getnet IP address. The getnet IP address command gets the IP address configuration such as IPv4 addresses, IPv6 addresses, and IP interfaces with which addresses are associated. So let's try this command in PowerShell. And typing getnet IP addresses. So here you can see all my IP address. It shows my IPv6 address and IPv4 addresses, my Ethernet, my interfaces. It's shows my prefix length. It's basically a detailed information about my IP addresses. So let's move on to the next slide, which is getnet adapter. The getNet adapter command gets the basic network adapter properties. By default, only visible adapters are returned. To see the common network adapter properties, pipe the output in the format list command. To get all visible network adapter type, we can type the command getNet adapter name. So I am typing here. This takes time. Let me type the command. So it's having problem. So let me try opening the PowerShell again. I'm opening the PowerShell again. Then we are typing the command getNet name. So basically, as I said, this shows all network adapter. So here you can see IF index status 3 app, then the MAC address, then the link speed is 1 GB per second. The available net adapter is Ethernet 0. So let's move on to the next tool. Before moving on to the next tool, I will also explain one more command based on getNet adapter. To get all visible and hidden network adapter type, you can type the command getNet adapter name include hidden. In order for you to see all hidden network adapters, you can type the command getNet adapter name include hidden. If you press enter, you could see all the network adapters, but only Ethernet 0 is up, rest are not up. Okay, then let's move on to the next tool, which is install Windows feature. The command installs the specified feature on a computer that is running Windows Server 2012 R2 or on an offline virtual hard disk on which Windows Server 2000 R2 is installed. This command works similarly to the installation of roles and features in Server Manager with an important exception, and the command does not include management tools for feature by default. So then restart service, the restart service command sends a stop message and then a start message to Windows Service Controller for a specified service. If a service was already stopped, it is started without notifying you of an error. You can specify the service by their service names or display names, or you can use the input object parameter to pass an object that represents each service that you want to restart. To restart a service, you can type the command restart service name. Here I have typed Windows Management. So instead of there, you can type any command. So it will get restarted. First, it send a stop message and then it restarts. So add DHCP server v4 scope. The add DHCP server v4 scope command adds on IP address scope on dynamic host configuration server service that has been specified. So in order to add IP address range in DHCP, you can use this command. It will make a scope and you can specify the range in that command. So this is basically done using um, graphical user interface, and you can do in PowerShell also. This command helps you to do it in your PowerShell. Let's move on to the next topic, which is set DHCP server v40 option value. The set DHCP server 40 option value command sets an IPv4 option value at the server scope or reservation level. The definition for the option must already exist. This command fails if the option definition does not occur in the dynamic host configuration protocol. So this, if you have to give a specific IP address, for example, you are giving a range of IP addresses in DHCP. So if you have to give a specific IP address to the computer, you could give its MAC address, so it will be reserved. You could do this at the scope or reservation level. So we are done with the topic. So thank you guys.